Distinguished friends from the industry, Reddy Garuji, CDSO distinguished officials, state and the central government officials, and of course, the most wonderful regulators of the world sitting here, and awesome friends from the industry. It's an honor and a pleasure to welcome you to this fora about which Uday spoke eloquently about the international regulators meet. Now, before I get on to the subject, I would want you to listen to this personal anecdote which happened to me way back towards June of 1979. Moving out of the precincts of awesome institution promoted by Harvard Business School called Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, I landed up with a job in the #1 company in the world from Germany in India called Hoechst. We were known by 100 names, but the actual German pronunciation was Hoechst Pharmaceuticals Limited, which in its current form is known as Sanofi Aventis. A German giant got acquired by a small little company called Sanofi of France for a variety of geopolitical reasons. Now, when I went there, ladies and gentlemen, India was 100% importer of medicines. And I remember the first job given to me, I thought I was like the managing director coming out of such a big school. And when the first job was given to me, ladies and gentlemen, the job was simple mathematical calculations. There were no mobiles, there were no computers. Computers were housed in a big room like this, you know. There were no laptops, no nothing. So you had a diary and you had to write down a couple of things here and there and report to the vice president, Mr. Hinkle. Now, what Mr. Hinkle gave me was an amazing part of glibenclamide, anti-diabetic, which is the most popular anti-diabetic drug. And I was told, Dinesh, you're good at maths, you're good in business. You kindly make sure that we retain as much profit as we can in Germany and show a loss in India. And I'm on record saying this, what I'm saying. Now, I got very disappointed, you know. All of this stuff coming into India, you want to keep the profits over there, and you want to rip this country apart. Thanks to Mrs. Gandhi at that point in time, because she was leading the challenge in Uruguay round of talks, that we did not sign off on the dotted line. Otherwise, our position would be exactly like that of Pakistan, of, you know, people with a begging bowl, right? We would not be what we are today, as Uday said a little while ago, that we're the 4th largest in volumes and 10th largest in value. We supply to 205 out of 211 countries. And the balance 6 countries also, ladies and gentlemen, are indirectly supplied in Francophone countries through Paris-based distributors. So we supply to the whole of the world. That's why you call a pharmacy to the world. Why did this metamorphosis happen? It happened because we did not sign on the dotted line, as was mandated by the innovator companies for evergreening patents and so many other complications and the TRIPS. Look at the scenario today, from where we were to where we are. We are the largest volume exporters, controlling 25% of the volumes in the world. Who could have ever thought from 1980 onwards till today, in about 39 years, as much as my experience is, that there'll be a total catapulting metamorphosis and a turnaround. And I think we are all very proud Indians to have done what we've done, which is acknowledged by anybody and everybody in the world. Right? Whilst we've gone across and we've won the world over, and Mr. Reddy, my immediate past chairman, his company is making waves out there in the United States. My ex-company, Zydus Cadila, is making waves. They've crossed 2 billion plus, or whatever is the number, right? How have they done it? They've done it in a graduated manner. They were small, domestic. When I joined Zydus Cadila way back in 2001, they were purely a domestic company. Bit by bit, gradually, they learned the art of regulating themselves. That's why this conference. We got hooked onto the regulations of the world, may it be the rest of the world to start with, then moving on to highly regulated markets. I remember there was first acquisition of L Pharma in Paris, in France, which was up for sale. And my ex-boss, Mr. Pankaj Patel, who is the chairman of the Zydus Group, he acquired the company and realized the acquisition cost within 1 year, and today Zydus Cadila has all their registration which are working through Al Pharma France. So what a brilliant move. You know, Aurobindo Pharma, the fastest growing company out there in the United States. I hold my head with pride when people talk so good about these wonderful companies. And so many others. My company supplies APIs to 75 countries in the world, starting when I took over in 2007, to hardly about 2 or 3 low-hanging countries. So there's been a graduation, and the graduation has happened, ladies and gentlemen, through you, through our regulators. So Maniji is iconic, he's sitting here, he understands it more than anybody else, and of course, a whole host of others. That all of this has happened because we learned the art of compliance through regulators. And the theme of the day today is absolutely appropriate and contemporary. As Uday said, that through this program of IKEP, International Knowledge Exchange Program, in collaboration under the aegis of Ministry of Commerce, what we have learned, what we have conquered, what we have achieved has to be passed on to the rest of the world. Ultimately, it's an era of harmonization. Whereas behemoths like United States and China are fighting the hell out of each other. Ultimately, what's going to happen, that all the countries are going to converge. Somebody's loss is going to be somebody's gain. Today, you have a Sino-US issue. Sino-Indian will happen. US-India will happen. We are seeing howdy modi. Who could have ever thought that in Texas, which is a huge, strong base support for President Trump of the United States and our CEO, the Honorable Prime Minister Modi, they're going to be meeting. They're going to be jointly addressing the US Indians in Texas. Who could have ever thought of that? There were sound bites at some point in time that President Trump is going to bring down the prices of this, that, and what. There's going to be disruption in the industry. All of that is a thing of the past. Because he also understands, that regulators there understand, that today, if we sneeze in India, they'll shiver in the US, because in the US, we control 40% of the volumes of generic space of $120 billion, and we, 25% of the value space. So where are they going to get the formulations from? Where are they going to get their drugs from? They're going to get it from India. And all of this has happened through huge amount of learning, due diligence, intense amount of insight into the regulations of various countries. We started off with the rest of the world countries. We learned from you, you learned from us. It was a kind of an exchange of learning, which is what creates value ultimately, where the value is the highest. The volume may not be as high as compared to some of the other countries, but the value is the highest, which is the United States. Today, I'm very proud to say that another destination, which is one of the most difficult destinations and where the regulatory landscape is relatively more difficult than even the United States and Europe, is Japan. My own company, we've got 3 approvals from PMDA Japan after 5 years of learning from the Japanese with kind of inspection do they undertake. Believe you me, when a Japanese set of inspectors come in, they come with a magnifying glass. They look at everything with a magnifying glass. They swipe their hand everywhere, wherever they go. In case there is dust, the Japanese will terminate the inspection. So Indians have passed injectable. My company's passed injectable. There are a couple of others as well. And also orals from Japanese, Koreans as well. So this is, idea in telling you all of this is very simple. That it's a two-way process of making ourselves learn and train the trainer program. Once we've learned, we should pass on the learnings to all of you. Having said that, I think one particular aspect of this initiative is simple: harmonization. We talk about CFR 21 compliance, which you know very well, right? All of us subscribe to that, right? Then there is this development about harmonization, mutual recognition between Europe and US. Unfortunately, they have restricted this for the companies based out of the United States and based out of the European Union. We are taking it up very strongly with both the regulators that if you can have a mutual recognition in respect of both your geographies, 29 or 28 countries after Brexit, it will be 28, you have mutual recognition for yourself. What about us? We are the pharmacy of the world. We have largest number of US FDA approved plants in India. We have the largest filings and approvals of ANDAs and drug master files, and similar thing is for Europe. Why not for us? So a debate has already started. Now, taking off from there, my appeal to most of the regulators as well as Government of India, CDSO, and Honorable DCGI is that name of the game is mutual recognition. You know, I see in PICS, there are so many 50-odd countries. Even then, there are some countries who are warning that we'll have our own inspection. So what's the meaning of PICS then in that case? If I'm approved by Malaysia and Ukraine wants to do their own inspection, that defeats the very purpose. Now, this is a food for thought today, where in the today and tomorrow, 2 days, we need to deliberate upon, you know, how to harmonize everything, how to make sure that if you have an approval from certain countries, which is mutually agreed upon, why and where is the need of conducting inspections, right? It requires a lot of money. It takes away a lot of your time. And then harmonization or mutual recognition has no place on this earth. So I think it's a very important time in point where speedier mutual recognition can pave the way for speedy supplies of very good quality CGMP approved plants. When I say what I say, obviously a due diligence or a care has to be taken that the approval which has been granted on a mutual recognition basis is from high-end countries. If you are US or Europe approved, then you should walk through. Now look at the case of China. Believe you me, until about a year ago, China would not, and I state very, very emphatically, would not approve any one of the Indian companies, barring a very few joint venture companies which are sitting out there in China. Reddy ji is aware of that, right? Until something very dramatic happened through Hyderabad. You know, there is this movie called Dying to Survive. I'm sure some of you must have seen it. Dying to Survive. It got produced, first of all, in Chinese and then got translated. It's on my mobile. Now, what happened was that there is this gentleman, poor gentleman, Chinese, who was suffering from, leukemia. And the drug available in China was only one called Gleevec from Novartis, imitinab, right? The cost, I think Uday also mentioned that, the cost of the Australian patient was something like $80,000 for the whole treatment for the year. He reached out to one of his friends who was a pharmaceutical distributor based out of Hong Kong, the Bay Area, and said that, look, I'm dying. I don't have the money. So can you help me out? He says, yes, I can help you out. I have imitinab, which can be sourced from NATCO in Hyderabad. And the total cost of treatment, if I'm not wrong, is about $9,000 to $10,000. So 7x down or 8x down or whatever. He reached out to NATCO. NATCO gave him further discount saying that, look, it's for a humanitarian cause. It's as good as free. So they bring it to Hong Kong and then they smuggle it into China. And the guy was up and about in about 9 months' time. He then conveyed this and it became viral to a couple of his friends. And then one of the movie producers got to know about this. He created, ladies and gentlemen, a movie out of it, right? And that was one of the best movies on the theaters as well as on the mobile or on other social media, which was uploaded on YouTube also. Do see that movie on YouTube if you can, Dying to Survive. Now, this became viral, and the government got to know about it. The Chinese government got to know about it. And the regulator said, how did you get the Indian medicine? How can you do that? We've not cleared it. But the public outcry was so intense that it reached up to President Xi, lo and behold. As soon as it went up to the corridors of power, a call came to our government. DG Uday was also sounded out that we have to look at China again. And within the space of a couple of months, we signed an MOU with CCMPH, or whatever was that, the agency, China Chamber of Commerce for Pharmaceuticals and Health. And expedited approval was promised. Customs duty on certain molecules were removed. And my company, we uploaded 10 DMFs on the Chinese agency. They're asking for a few other things here and there that we are sorting out. But the name of the game is that it's only after public outcry of economical, good quality medicines and drugs, that the Chinese government, the dragon, woke up. And then they recognized there'll be lots of similar conferences that we're doing today with you, the regulators of the world. With the Chinese, they came here, we went there, Murli went there, our Murli colleague from Pharmexcil went there and organized a conference. And the regulators admitted, yes, there's such a lot that Sino-India pharmaceutical trade can do. So taking a leaf from there, my appeal to you, the distinguished regulators of the world, is that please look at everything what is deliberated today and tomorrow with absolutely a clear vision, open mind. And we from India, from Pharmexcil side and from the industry side, can assure you that whatever you say and whatever is mutually agreed, we will be right up there. If we can comply with the most regulated markets of the world, the regulators of the world, why can't we comply to Africa, Latin America, and Visa, COFE Paris? We all approved, majority of our companies approved. So that being said, I think it's a good platform. I welcome you here on behalf of Government of India and Pharmexcil, and look forward to a very fruitful exchange of ideas, interactive and multi-views, both intake and outgo, to make sure that we take the maximum advantage out of this. And I once again thank Somaniji and his team, a very, very distinguished team, to have collaborated with us, to have agreed to come here and honor us through their presence, knowledge, and skills. And I think this conference will open up new vistas of expansion for the pharmaceutical industry, which is going to be mutually beneficial to you and to us together. And together, we shall take it forwards. Thank you very much.